The story begins right now, and if you're watching this, I want you to pause for just a second and feel this with me. Picture a man standing alone on a rainy porch, holding a cardboard box filled with memories that no longer belong to him, his little daughter clutching his leg, both of them broken in ways words can barely touch. What if returning those simple things, old letters, a worn watch, faded photos, unlocked a door he thought was sealed forever? And what if one woman, his late friend's sister, stepped through that door and changed everything? This is the story of Alex, little Emma, and Sophia. Stick around till the end because the twist will hit you right in the heart, and if this story moves you even a little, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Stories like this, full of real pain, real love, and real hope, keep this channel alive. Let's dive in. Alex Thompson had learned to live in the quiet spaces between heartbeats. At 34, he was a single dad raising 5-year-old Emma in the small coastal town of Willow Bay, where the ocean whispered secrets to anyone patient enough to listen. 2 years earlier, his wife had passed away from a sudden illness, leaving him with a toddler who still asked for mommy in her sleep and a house that felt too big for just the two of them. He worked construction by day, fixing other people's homes while his own felt perpetually unfinished. Nights were the hardest, bedtime stories read through a tight throat, tiny hands wiping away his silent tears when he thought she wasn't looking. His best friend Jake had been his anchor through it all. They had grown up together, shared everything from first heartbreaks to late-night dreams of building something better for their families. Jake was the loud one, the optimist, the guy who showed up with pizza and terrible jokes exactly when Alex needed them most. Then, 8 months ago, Jake's truck had hydroplaned on a slick highway during a storm. One phone call from the hospital shattered everything. Jake was gone at 33, leaving behind a grieving mother, a devastated younger sister, and a mountain of unfinished business. Alex had kept Jake's things in the guest room closet, things Jake had left at his house over the years, a box of childhood baseball cards, a leather journal filled with half-written songs, an old army surplus jacket that still smelled faintly of Jake's cologne, and a stack of letters from their deployment days when they were both young and scared. Alex couldn't bring himself to look at them most days. They sat there like ghosts, waiting. One gray Saturday morning, Emma tugged on his sleeve while he stared at the closed closet door. "Daddy, when is Uncle Jake coming back? He promised to take me fishing." The question broke him. He knelt down, pulling her into his arms, inhaling the strawberry shampoo scent of her hair. "Uncle Jake is watching us from heaven, baby. But today, Daddy has to take some of his things back to his family. They miss him too." Emma nodded solemnly, her big brown eyes reflecting a wisdom far beyond her years. "Can I help? I can carry the small ones." That was how they ended up loading the car, father and daughter on a mission that felt both necessary and impossible. Alex's hands trembled on the steering wheel as they drove the 20 miles to the Harper family home on the outskirts of town. Mrs. Harper, Jake's mother, had called him a few times, her voice soft with shared sorrow, asking gently if he was ready. He never was. But Emma's innocent courage pushed him forward. When they pulled into the driveway, the house looked the same as always, white siding, blue shutters, the big oak tree where Jake had once carved their initials as kids. But everything felt heavier now. Alex lifted the boxes from the trunk, Emma balancing a small bag of Jake's old comic books against her chest like a sacred offering. The front door opened before he could knock. And there she was, Sophia Harper. Jake's younger sister had always been the quiet force in their trio. 3 years younger, she had followed them around as a kid, sketching in notebooks while they played basketball, offering dry wit that cut through their nonsense. After college, she had become a counselor at the local community center, helping families navigate loss. But grief had changed her too. Her dark hair was pulled back simply, shadows under her warm hazel eyes, yet there was a quiet strength in the way she stood there, arms wrapped around herself as if holding her own pieces together. "Alex," she said, her voice catching. "Emma. You came." The hug that followed wasn't polite. It was the kind of embrace shared by people who had survived the same shipwreck. Sophia smelled like lavender and fresh coffee, and for a moment, Alex let himself lean into it, the weight of the boxes forgotten at their feet. Emma wrapped her tiny arms around Sophia's leg, and something in the air shifted, like the first crack of sunlight after endless rain. They brought the boxes inside. Mrs. Harper met them in the living room, her eyes lighting up at the sight of Emma. The older woman enveloped the little girl in a hug that spoke of grandmothers and lost sons. They sat together, the boxes opened like time capsules. Each item brought a story: Jake's ridiculous attempts at songwriting that made them laugh through tears, the watch his father had given him before passing, letters that revealed fears Jake had never voiced aloud. Alex watched Sophia as she lifted the journal. Her fingers traced the worn cover, and when she looked up, her eyes met his with raw understanding. "He wrote about you in here, you know. About how you were the brother he never had. How proud he was of you raising Emma alone." The words landed like a gentle wave, eroding the walls Alex had built. That afternoon stretched into evening. Mrs. Harper insisted they stay for dinner. Emma played in the backyard with an old swing set that had once belonged to Jake and Sophia, her laughter carrying through the open windows like healing medicine. As the sun dipped low, painting the sky in oranges and pinks, Alex found himself on the back porch with Sophia. She handed him a mug of tea. "Thank you for bringing these. I know it wasn't easy." "It wasn't," he admitted. Keeping them felt like holding on to him. "Giving them back, it feels like letting go." Sophia nodded, staring out at the ocean visible in the distance. "I've been helping families at the center, telling them it's okay to feel everything at once. But when it's your own brother, the advice doesn't work the same. I keep expecting him to walk through the door with that stupid grin." They talked for hours. Alex spoke of sleepless nights wondering if he was enough for Emma. Sophia shared how she had thrown herself into work to avoid the empty spaces in her own life, how Jake's death had made her question every path she thought was certain. There was no pressure, no forced romance. Just two people, exhausted from carrying grief alone, finding unexpected shelter in each other's honesty. That first visit led to more. Sophia started coming by Alex's house on weekends, bringing small comforts, homemade lasagna, books for Emma, quiet companionship that didn't demand anything. She helped Emma plant flowers in the yard, so we can watch them grow like Uncle Jake would have wanted. Alex found himself smiling more, the heavy fog lifting inch by inch. But challenges came, as they always do when hearts are mending. The first big one hit during Jake's would-be birthday. Alex had planned to spend it quietly with Emma, but Sophia showed up with a cake and balloons, her face determined. "He would hate us sitting around moping. Let's celebrate the good stuff." They tried. They told stories, ate cake, released balloons into the sky with notes to Jake. But as night fell, Alex's grief surged like a tidal wave. He stepped outside alone, shoulders shaking with sobs he had held back for months. Sophia found him there. "You don't have to do this alone anymore," she whispered, placing a hand on his back. "Not the parenting, not the missing him, not any of it." He turned to her, vulnerability laid bare. "I don't know how to need someone again. After losing my wife, and now Jake. What if I mess this up too?" Sophia's eyes filled with tears, but her voice was steady. "Then we mess up together. Jake always said you were the strongest person he knew. Let me show you that strength doesn't mean carrying it all by yourself." Their connection deepened slowly, beautifully. Sophia became a steady presence in Emma's life, reading bedtime stories with silly voices, helping with kindergarten art projects, creating new traditions that honored the old ones. Alex watched his daughter bloom, her questions about heaven mixing with giggles during Sophia's visits. Yet doubts lingered for Alex. He worried about rushing, about what people would say, a single dad finding comfort in his best friend's sister. Work stress mounted as a big project deadline loomed, threatening his ability to be present. Sophia had her own battles. The community center faced funding cuts, and helping others while barely holding herself together took its toll. One evening, after a particularly hard day, she broke down in his kitchen. "I feel guilty," she confessed, voice trembling. "For laughing again. For feeling happy when I come here. Like I'm betraying Jake by moving forward." Alex pulled her close, the roles reversed now. He would want this. For both of us. He always pushed us to live fully. They faced it together, the survivor's guilt, the fear of new love, the practical realities of blending lives. Emma became their bridge. One afternoon, the little girl drew a picture of their family, Daddy, herself, and Sophia holding hands under a big sun, with a stick figure angel watching from the clouds labeled Uncle Jake. That drawing became their turning point. Months passed. Seasons changed. Alex finished his project successfully, finding new pride in providing stability. Sophia's advocacy at the center helped secure funding, reigniting her passion. They took Emma on trips to the beach where Jake once taught them to skip stones, sharing memories and making new ones. Laughter returned fully, real, unguarded, healing. The proposal came on a quiet evening exactly 1 year after that first visit with the boxes. Alex had prepared a small dinner, Emma helping with place settings. When Sophia arrived, Emma ran to her with the drawing framed as a gift. As Sophia admired it, Alex knelt down. "Sophia, you've changed everything. You brought light back into this house. Into me. Jake's sister, Emma's favorite storyteller, and the woman I want to build a future with. Will you marry us?" Tears streamed down Sophia's face as she pulled them both into her arms. Yes. 1,000 times yes. Their wedding was simple, held in the backyard under the oak tree, with Mrs. Harper beaming, Emma scattering flower petals, and friends who had walked through the grief with them. Jake's memory was honored with a special seat and his favorite songs playing softly. Years later, Alex would look back and see how returning those ordinary things had been the beginning of an extraordinary second chance. Sophia didn't just help him heal, she showed him that love multiplies, that family is built through choice and courage, and that even in the deepest loss, hope finds a way. Emma grew up knowing 2 fathers in her heart, one in heaven, one who taught her resilience, and a mother figure who taught her compassion. The family they formed became a beacon for others in Willow Bay, proof that broken pieces can create something stronger when joined with care. If you've made it this far, know this: whatever you're carrying, grief, doubt, the weight of single parenthood, or the fear of starting over, there is someone or something out there ready to change everything for the better. You just have to open the door, even when it hurts. Like this video if it touched your heart, subscribe for more stories of hope and healing, and share your own story in the comments. We're in this together. Until next time, keep believing in new chapters.